Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Catalyst webinar series presented by the Education Committee for the Southern California PGA. The Catalyst webinar series is a bi-weekly educational platform for creating success and change in your club and career. We are very excited to introduce our presenter this morning on the Catalyst, the one and only Mr. Gary McCord. Needs no introduction. Good morning, Gary. How are you today, sir?
What's up? Everything good out there?
Absolutely, absolutely. We're delighted that you were able to join us this morning. Thank you very much for that.
You got it.
You have a good morning for the attendees, or can we dive right into the questions?
Well, good morning, everybody out there listening. I know it's bright and early there in SoCal, and hopefully the weather's good and we can get rid of this stupid virus and get back to normal. So let's get on with it.
Okay, fantastic. Just so everyone is aware, the Education Committee for the section was polled on some questions to ask Mr. McCord this morning, and so we're just going to go right down the line and hit them. What are your thoughts on how the LPGA can grow in popularity to be on an equitable platform with the PGA Tour?
Wow, man, that's we could go a couple hours on that one. Man, if I was doing this and I was the LPGA, I would immediately try to get under the umbrella of the PGA Tour and get them involved and as a co-business. They run the Ferry Tour, obviously, PGA Tour, and the PGA Tour. And I would put them under the same umbrella if there's a meshing, and use the expertise and the marketing capabilities, and tournament wise you could pair men and women together and just gain more exposure for the LPGA through that marketing arm, which is huge, PGA Tour. And I think to just involve themselves with the tour would help with the LPGA and their marketing. And that would be my first go, and then establish some kind of criteria how they're going to grow the business through the tour / Corn Ferry Tour / LPGA. That would be my first reaction to that.
Now, is that purely your idea, or have you heard that in circles over the last couple of years?
Oh, when I was on the board from '83 to '87 on the tour, one of the 4 player directors, and we actually talked about that with Beeman back then if we wanted to get involved with that. So that's 100 years ago. So it's been there the whole time. It just, as far as their marketing of their product and getting it out there to mainstream, actually has been a little slow, I would think, if you ask the LPGA members. And I just think you need a stronger marketing arm, which would be the tour, and put golf all in the under one umbrella and try to move it forward that way.
Certainly makes sense. Regarding instruction, do you think teaching strategies have changed over the past several years, and if so, how?
Well, I think the strategies have moved on a parallel line with the understanding of biomechanics and what actually happens. I mean, in the old days, when I started the tour, no one had any instructors. You just went out and dug it out of the ground and figured out, boy, that one felt good, and it went that way. Others really didn't have anything other than graph check cameras at that point, and no one knew what they were looking at. And now, you can go to these guys, Sasha McKenzie, biomechanist. You've got all these guys that are very, very qualified to show you how to move through time and space with your body. And that's it. We know the mentation process. I've worked with Mac O'Grady for 12 years in his project, and he was the first guy to actually really quantify it as far as movement, time and space with these motor experts, and you know, what is true and what is false. We finally, I think we've got to that point now, and then the teachers have now surrounded themselves with that understanding, and best can teach their students of all, you know, ages and abilities and movement and everything else. So I think that has been the biggest direction turn I've seen since I started hitting balls a lot in about 1967, 68, when we knew nothing. And now we know just about everything, including, you know, the mentation process and how fast you can move your external digits to, you know, through time and space in, you know, 1.1 second driver's swing. So it's all quantified. We can do it. We can figure it out. And I think the teaching has come up and identified that, and I think it's helped all the teachers.
And for you personally, of course, we all know who you are as the broadcasting personality. You know, many know your golf lineages, but can you back it up and just tell us your golf story and how it got started and where it got started and how you got to today?
That's kind of boring, but I was a freshman, Garden Grove High School in Garden Grove, California. And I went out for the golf team. I played baseball and basketball and all that stuff. Didn't play much golf. And I was a freshman, Garden Grove. And I remember I lied to the coach. He said, "Can you break 90?" And I said, "Yeah." And I'd never broken 90. I was 15. It's 15 or 16. And so I went out for the team, and I couldn't break 90, and I didn't make the team. And then I moved. The next year, I moved to Riverside, California. And I didn't know anybody there, and my parents just dropped me off at Fairmont Park, which is a 9-hole golf course. So I was 16, I guess, and I just played golf constantly, all day, with old guys, pushing carts. And my mom would come and pick me up at night, and she'd drop me off the next day, and there I was, hitting balls. And then I think I was 19, and I was at University of California at Riverside, and I came in second in the NCAA, and then I won it the next year. So it was a fast progression from not being able to play golf at all to hitting balls, and again, back to the old axiom that I just dug it out of the dirt. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue. But I could get it going forward, and it curved a certain way, and I could aim it. And so in like 2-3 years, I ended up from not playing to winning the NCAA. So it was a fast incline as far as my abilities to, you know, to hit a golf ball and find it and hit it and get it in the hole. I don't know what I owe it to other than playing golf every day, all day. And so that's my golf story. Then I got on the tour and played, and kind of futile, and you know, got on the Champions Tour and started winning, and that's after working with McCord, and then doing TV broadcasts for 35 years. So I got to see really good players, and I evolved to a pretty good player after my career was over, basically, and I started the Champions Tour, which is I don't really, I should say, most of my career I failed, but when I got to where the old guys were, I got pretty good. And that's all McCord. I started working with him after I quit the tour, basically, and just before I started the Champions Tour. So it was a fun ride, and I got to see all aspects of it.
And in terms of broadcasting, how did that get going?
I was on an airplane. I was going from Colonial Tournament in Fort Worth, and I was going to Nicholas's tournament, Memorial. I wasn't in the tournament. That's an invitational, and I wasn't high enough on the money list, obviously. But I was on the policy board, one of the 4 player directors. And I got in the airplane, and all the guys from CBS were in first class. Of course, I'm a 27C back there by the John. And pretty soon they sent back a bottle of wine to me back there. So I got an idea. Went up and asked Frank Chirkadian, who was the executive producer director at CBS, I had nothing to do for the week. I was there Tuesday and Wednesday for policy board meetings, and then I had to go up to the next tournament. Hell, I was broke, and it was in Washington, D.C., and that's expensive. So I had a bright idea. I asked Frank. I went up to the front, thanked him for the wine, and then asked him, I said, listen, can I come on and watch a telecast from your trucks? Because I'm making decisions as to contracts with CBS, NBC, ABC, Golf Channel hadn't started then. And I said, I don't know anything about television. Can I just sit and watch? And of course, you know, he's kind of ragging on me a little bit. He says, yeah, he says, where are you staying? I said, well, I checked out. And he says, all right, check into our hotel, blah, blah, blah. So I showed up on Friday. And I got back in the trucks right behind Frank, and you know, there's 126 monitors. There's about 10 or 15 guys lined up, and things are flying all over the place. It was quite entertaining. And then somebody said, Gary's here. He turned around and he goes, go out to 16. And I go, because we were about ready to go on the air on Thursday. And I said, 16? He said, yeah, get out there. So I crawl out of there, and so I thought I was going to be a guy on the 16th tee at Muirfield at Jack's golf course there. And basically what they do is the caddies that don't make the cut, they go out and they sit on par threes and get the club selection. So I thought that's what he was going to have me do. And I started walking out there, and Vern Lundquist started calling me from the tower. He said, get up here, hurry, we're about ready to go on. I, what? So I go up there and sit down, and he goes, he handed me a headset, and he said, Frank wants to try as an announcer. So I said some stupid things, you know, and I got on the air and did Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday. He said he liked what I was doing, and he goes, what are you doing next week? I said, I'm going to Washington to play. He said, good, you'll miss the cut. When you do, come on up. So I did that from 86 to 90. I play and then go up in the tower if I missed the cut, or got done early enough to go up and did that. And then I signed a contract in 1990. And that was it. That's all I got on television. It just happened chance. I wasn't even trying to do it. It was just something. And then I just kept going. It was kind of fun. And it was at that point, I really relished a paycheck. That was really interesting that you could actually get paid every week. It wasn't much, but at least I got paid every week.
Now, when you went to Washington, did you the following week indeed miss the cut?
Yep. That's a good question. I know I was on the air, so I either, basically when I got done, I would run up and do it. If we were on the air, and I'd jump into the tower and do it. I don't remember the weekend if I made it or not, but I remember I was on the air.
Now, either from a playing standpoint or a broadcasting standpoint, your favorite, top three favorite career highlights?
Oh, I didn't have many. You mean playing the tours?
Yeah. Well, the three most memorable experiences that stand out in your mind across broadcasting or competing.
Oh, broadcasting and oh man. Let's see. I won. I remember I was going down. It was in South Florida, and I was down there doing an outing for Mark Lai, and Mark Lai goes, by the way, he says, I can get you in the Ben Hogan Tour event down here, which is now the Corn Ferry. We've got a bunch of names for it. But he says, I can get you in if you want to play. And I'd quit playing the tour and everything else, and working hard with Mac. And I go, yeah. So I did his outing, and then I waited 2 days, and I played in the Ben Hogan Tour event down there in Fort Myers, and I won it by 5. I beat Lehman and all these guys. I hadn't been playing at all, and that was it. I never played in another one. So I played in one event on the Corn Ferry Tour and won it, and I didn't play again. I thought that was kind of funny, because I remember I said, why would you play another one? Let's just play one and win and get out of there. So that was interesting. I won the tour championship on the Champions Tour in Myrtle Beach, and that was a good one. That was a hell of a tournament. I won a lot of money for that one. That was 1999, I think, or 2000. That was memorable. And broadcasting, if I go to that, I don't know if there's any memorable moments in broadcasting. The one I remember the most was the first time I went to Augusta, before I got fired at Augusta, and it was '86. It was my first one, and I remember Pat Summerall and Ben Wright and all the guys were lobbying for me to go to it, to do it with Frank Shirkinian, our executive producer director, and he finally relented. And I went there, and I was on the 14th hole, which is kind of obscure. You're back in the trees, and that's where they put all the rookies that in the first one. And I watched Jack win that, and that was amazing to watch that, and especially obviously being my first one. So that was probably the highlight of broadcasting career.
Top 3 favorite golf courses in the United States and why?
Oh, wow. That's kind of subjective and ubiquitous if you're trying to figure out the top 3. Now, the top 3 golf courses let's see. I'll put it, I didn't want to answer it that way. I'll answer it this way. I'll give you 2 of the hardest golf courses you could play tomorrow, the next day, a week from Thursday, next month, and you could play the U.S. Open on them at any time during any day of the week for members play. And that would be Butler National in Chicago, and it'd be Oakmont. You could go out and play that men's day, and it'd be like playing the U.S. Open. They're that hard and that good, and always perfect condition. I get asked that question a lot about, hard golf courses that you can go play, and those 2 are brutal. Absolutely. I don't know how the members do it. I really don't. They're so hard. I'd quit. I'd get tired of shooting 90 all the time. Golf courses that you play that are nice, and I look at it, where would I take my buddies? Everybody plop in an airplane and we go play and, get 3 foursomes and have at it, cocktails at night. And that would be Whistling Straits, Bandon Dunes. That's a good one. Those two come to mind of the golf and just pure golf to go have some fun. Those 2 places.
And how about on an international level?
Man, there's so many good golf courses in Scotland and Ireland to go over there and just, we've all done it. We've all got a bunch of guys got over there, got in a bus and just started playing everywhere. And that's really fun because that's all about the golf and the drinking. You go over there and it's just, you don't remember much after you're done, but it's fun, and they're all good. I mean, they're all quirky, they're all fun. It's just, it's golf. It's golf with your buddies and isolated and having fun. And I just got back from a trip probably 2 years ago with a bunch of guys from Whistle Rock, and I don't remember where we played. We played about 7 golf courses. And it was fun. I don't remember the names of the golf courses. I have no idea what they were, but they were all pretty good.
When you were playing, who were the players you looked up to the most?
Yeah, you know what? We didn't. You didn't try to. When I was out there, and I was watching Nicklaus, and I was watching Trevino, and I was watching Weiskopf, and I was watching all these guys, and they're all different. They all play differently. They all went about their jobs differently. I like the focus of Jack. I love the extemporaneous conversation and batonage that Lee Trevino went through before he hit a shot. Talking to his caddy Herman all the time about what he's going to do with this shot, and then watching him and playing once in a while with him and watching how he did it and the way he was able to concentrate and turn off the funny stuff, hit a shot, quality shot, and then start again on the funny stuff. So all these guys they were all quirky. They're not kind of cookie cutter like they are now on the tour. They're very good on the tour now, but they're all kind of paying attention, and no one really talks too much. But in my era, there wasn't much money out there, and these guys were, they were making their living with their personalities basically. And to watch all of that with all the great players, everybody was different. So it was kind of a montage of golf swings to watch and personalities to observe.
Now, you mentioned Weisskopf, but you didn't explain his uniqueness from your point of view. What was his deal?
He could hit it absolutely perfect. He had no idea what he was doing. Never. I never. Tom and I were pretty good friends. We roomed together. After a while, a couple of deals, and he was with CBS during my tenure there. So we had a ball together, and he'd go out and we'd go out and play, and he just hit these just towering long irons. It came down like Nicklaus, and he was just so good at everything. And he wasn't a very good putter. Never practiced putting at all. And Tom, how'd you do that? The same thing with Jerry Hurt. It was another roommate of mine that was really good. And they never really, if you're talking about the golf swing, you got nothing. I don't know. I just hit it. If I want to hit it high, I just hit it high. And it was just real simple stuff. You sit there and go, but really? They have no clue what they're doing. They're just beating the hell out of everybody. And so that's why Tom was unique, because Tom could really, really play. If he had any focus at all and any drive to be good. His only drive was to beat Nicklaus, which wasn't bad, but he didn't have that drive to go out and work at it, hit it, practice, and gut it out. He was doing other things.
Not including equipment, what's the biggest change in golf from when you were playing to now? You touched on it a little bit with so much money being involved. The guys could be kind of hyper-focused out there now, but what's the biggest change that you see from then to now?
Well, the biggest thing I see of opposite of equipment is the agronomy and the architecture. I'll just give you an idea. I remember when I went to Southern California, I'm playing down there in Riverside and all the time where I grew up. And when I went to get my card in '71, I had to go to Florida. I'd never been to Florida. And I was in the finals down there. And I'm playing with Lanny Watkins and David Graham. And I get out there and I'm playing this golf course. And then where I grew up, the bunkers were on the sides of the greens. It was the old school way of playing golf, because the agronomy wasn't real good and the fairways were kind of scrappy, and you dig it out of holes and you low trajectory like all the old guys did, hit along the ground and bounce up on the green. And I go to Florida and idiots were putting bunkers in front of the greens, and I had this low hook that I just run up all the time. I couldn't play it. I couldn't get it in the air and I couldn't play it. And I went, wow, that's interesting. And so then as that evolved, you've got the agronomy actually really kind of dictated the equipment that was coming out. In essence, fairways were always long Bermuda, ratty. You had to dig down. Your tack angle had to be real steep, and you squeeze the ball out and rain it. And then all of a sudden the agronomy got real good. The fairways got really nice, bent, popping up in the air, zoysias, all this. You could pick it off the top, and they put bunkers. And Jack started putting his architecture, started putting bunkers in the front of the greens, because he hit high fades and he could hit over the bunkers and stop it. So all of a sudden now they started building golf balls. I remember the first one out that I ever heard about it actually had a dimple pattern. You could spin it and do all this. Was a max fly. It was called a dodecahedron dimple pattern. And the ball maximized up in the air and spinning. And then once you got that, you got drivers that could get running on the ground, and irons that got the ball way up in the air and were spinning them. So it's so that whole link with agronomy, with the types of grasses, with the cuts of grasses, then all of a sudden, the greens got really fast. They used to be, in the old days we had Poana in Southern Cal, and they were kind of bumpy and slow, and Bermuda and Florida and all the hot states had Bermuda. And then all of a sudden, again, it just about was Nicholas. The Muirfield Village was the first greens I got frightened on when I went to play there. I think it was 75 or 76 was the first tournament there. We'd never seen greens that fast, ever. And literally I got scared on the putting green. I couldn't, on the practice putting green, I couldn't stop the ball anywhere near the hole. And so that kind of, ignited all this stuff now. And you see these golf courses that are 7,700 yards now with bunkers in front of the green, and the tour's putting the pin 3 feet on the green on the downslope, trying to stop these guys from making birdies. So again, a long-winded answer to your question, but I think the agronomy kind of dictated then all of the different vagaries of equipment and how a golf ball flies through the air. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Couple of fun ones about food. Are the milkshakes really that good at Muirfield Village? You've mentioned Muirfield Village several times so far on the call. What about those milkshakes?
Yeah, the milkshakes there and the milkshakes at Castle Pines. Probably Castle Pines is more famous for theirs. And it's really good. And the dinners there. I mean, the tour does a heck of a job, and the golf courses, I should say, not the tour, but the golf courses that are hosting these events really go out of their way for these players, and the stuff they do for them. It's unbelievable. The food, and the way they cater these guys. It's a great living. If you're good, you cannot get a better living on the planet Earth than being a professional golfer on the PGA Tour, because they just come to you in waves. They're all trying to make their event the best event, so you'll come back. And the food, the attention to detail is fantastic. But if you talk about food, and there's a lot of them. I mean, all of them. What do we got now? 47, 48 events prior to this pandemic we're in right now. So it's going to be quite reduced, but they're all really good. I mean, they're all fantastic at what they provide the players and their families.
Which club stands out the most in your mind that has just the best food year in, year out?
Oh,
or should I say, who's known for it?
Yeah, no, man. I'm trying to remember. There's some great halfway houses, which are where you get the good burgers they're all pretty good. There's not one that that I can remember that's outstanding. They're all good. And then when you go there as a guest, you can sign your buddy's name on it, and they're really good then when you get free food. So that's a hard one to answer. Very subjective.
If Jim Nance didn't have the golden voice that he has, what occupation would he have?
Used car salesman.
You want to elaborate on that at all, or just used car salesman?
Yes. Jimmy and I came out on the tour together. I was 1 week earlier than Jim coming to work for CBS. So we became really good friends, brothers, basically, because we came out together. We evolved through Frank Shirkinian, who taught us both everything in the business. And Jimmy then, Jimmy's ceiling is, it's the highest you can get. He might be the best ever at what he does. Jimmy's a piece of work. I just absolutely love him. And I always tell him he's got to be a used car salesman. He could sell anything to anybody, anything. Worst car in the world, he could sell it to you, and you'd really like it. And that's Jim Nance, used car salesman.
So talking about people, who's the nicest guy out there that you wouldn't expect?
Well, I don't know. I can't. I don't know what people would expect and not expect. I mean, if you go down the list, of these kids right now, they're all really good guys. I mean, really are. In my day, we had some total, you know what, out there. There were some nasty guys out there. And I mean, my 35 years out there broadcasting and, 50 years of broadcasting and playing, these kids that are coming out now are really quality guys, every one of them. I mean, every one of them. I mean, the new kids, Cole Morikawa, you've got Matthew Wolf, Victor Hovland. They're all really good kids. And, if you had that kind of talent in my day, you'd be the cockiest SOB in the world out there because you beat everybody. These guys are just good guys, really good guys. And, a list before that, Justin and Ricky and all, they're all great kids, great kids. No complaints about any of them.
I know it's a slippery slope when you're talking about some tough cookies back in your day, but can you let us in on a couple?
Most of them. They didn't want anything to do with anybody. They were fighting for their lives. There was no money out there. And basically, when you played the tour in the old days, the better you played, the better job you got in upstate New York. That was where all the money was at Winged Foot and Quaker and all those Golf Century Club. And the better you played on the tour, better chance you would have during the summertime to go back and work there and then go play the tour in the winter. So it was cutthroat out there, cutthroat. And every one of those guys was nasty. Every one. Arnold was a really good guy, Palmer. And everybody else was kind of nasty, I remember. So it's you can take what you want, but it was a different time, different era, different way to approach how you use golf to make a living.
What do you want people to know about Gary McCord that they don't already know?
I don't profess. I don't care. I've had a great time. 50 years of playing the tour and doing television. I would think everybody's tired of me. I'm glad I retired. I had an unbelievable run, and there's nothing I can be more. I've been on national television for 35 years, literally just about every week, of the year. So I'm fed up with me too. So I hope nobody knows anything about me, doesn't care.
You said retired. Is there any thought or proposition of coming back to broadcasting in any capacity?
No. I mean, if you take everything the way it is now, I mean, I'm doing a lot of podcasting, doing a lot of that stuff. People are telling me get my own show, do this, do that. I'm having a ball. I live up here in Vail, Colorado in the summer and Scottsdale in the winter, so I've got it pretty good. And I the last thing you want to do right now is get in an airplane and go somewhere, right? Especially I'm 72. I don't want to be flying around doing all that stuff and get exposed to this thing. So I'm really happy with what I'm doing, which is nothing.
Are you playing any golf?
Yep, about every day. Every day play golf. We go up. My goal this summer up in Vail, my goal this summer is to find Sasquatch. So a buddy of mine, we have 3 ATVs and some other. We have a Israeli military ATV called Tomcar, and we go up. We went up yesterday, 4.5 hours in an ATV, bouncing off rocks, and I mean bouncing off rocks. We got to about 12,200 feet. We were up there where only Sasquatch could be. I can't find him yet, and I'm 72, and my buddy's 70. We're flying around these things up in the boulders, and it's fun. It's quite entertaining, to say the least. We were in the snow yesterday, up to our knees, and got stuck a couple of times. But we do it about 3 times a week. Go out in the wilderness with the ATVs, and that it's not going to end well. That's all I'll tell you.
So where are you a member in Vail?
I'm a member at Country Club of the Rockies, and I'm a member at Red Sky. And we have a scratch game that we're playing on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. And then Tuesday and Thursday, we go looking for Bigfoot. And then we throw some fishing in there and everything else you do in the mountains. It's there's no way you'd want to leave. Let's put it that way, to go do broadcasting or anything else. You wouldn't do it. You haven't got enough time for that stuff to make a living. You want to have some fun.
And when you're down in Scottsdale, where are you?
Whisper Rock. So it's quite aggressive at Whisper Rock. In the games and everything, we got 35 tour pros down there. What do we got? We've got 588 golfers at Whisper Rock. We have 36 holes, and the average handicap is 6.9. So it's quite festive every day down there, getting a game and choosing off against guys. There's some epic games out there, epic. So it's a lot of fun, very aggressive.
The most overrated course on tour?
Overrated in what way? Excuse me.
Difficulty, prestige, conditions.
Oh man, again, that's subjective. I don't know what people think of. The golf course that changes the most, and I put it that way, is the TPC at Scottsdale. Tom Weiskopf design. It's in the way he built it and the way that Dean Beeman wanted it for stadium golf, which is one of the first ones to employ that concept with large mounds everywhere. If you go play it as a daily fee golf course, I live 1.5 miles from it, so I go there and practice a lot. It is underwhelming, to say the least. A flat piece of property out in the desert, literally flat. And he put these mounds everywhere, and you go play it with nobody there, no bleachers, and no 16th hole that is just about domed now. You look at it and you go, well, wait a minute, what's this? This is not what I see on television. And then you see it on television, and you go play it during the tournament, and it is awe-inspiring. You can't breathe because people are everywhere. I mean, the last Saturday, just one day, we had, what do we have, 220,000 one day there. So, and then you go play it when the tournament's not there, there's nobody there and there's nothing there. And it is literally the antithesis. When you look from, you play it in the tournament and we just go play there in a daily fee. It's not even the same golf course.
Now, have you thought about getting into golf course design?
Yeah, I mean, I've walked around and stuff. I've walked around with Nicholas at a project, couple of projects, I think. Weiskopf and Morrish. I walked a number of their deals with him, and it's when it was going. And what do you think about this? Put it over there. What do you think? You know, Tom and I go back and forth. Fazio, same way. I never really got into. I got into it. You know, guys come. What do you think? What should we do here? I don't know. Why don't you put the tee over there? It'll make the hole look different. You can still walk there. It doesn't cost you much. You know, one of those kind of deals for buddies. But I never have gotten paid for anything and or had a real burning desire to do it, which is good because that business is all but gone at this particular point. The whole business now is, as you guys know, is what to do with golf courses that are kind of defunct and gone to seed. That's the new business. What do you do with them? So I'm glad I didn't get into the architecture business. It would have been short-lived, probably.
From your point of view, what's the best thing that we as golf professionals can do to grow the game that we're not already doing?
Wow, I think everybody is there. The good thing about the PGA and PGA of America is there is an emotional attachment to making this game better, easier, more productive from all aspects, from economics to the ability to play the game and understand the game. I think everybody's doing a really good job. I mean, they go off on these different tangent lines to their desires, individuals, which is all good because it's expanding exponentially. And so if you just take it from an overview, I think they're doing a hell of a job. I mean, the teaching, everybody's getting better. I can't even tell you the difference between the 70s and what teachers knew then and what they know now. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's really unbelievable. Problem is, I don't see many guys getting better. And I think that's just the individuals and the fact that golf's really hard, and it's really hard to get good unless you devote 90% of your waking hours to hitting a golf ball. Otherwise, it's a hard game. It's a really hard game to open the trunk, get the clubs out, go to the first tee and play. Really hard game. So that'll never change, I don't think. So in that framework, in that paradigm, you've got to figure out how to get these people better with the least amount of involvement that they put into the game. That's hard. That's really hard.
Along those same lines, where do you see the future of the golf industry going over the next 5 to 10?
It's really interesting, taking a look at all of us, and I'm old, and I've never seen anything like we're going through right now with this pandemic and what's going on, the spiking and all this stuff. But the last bastion of hope and of an availability to get out of your house and do something is a golf course, where you can go out and put the bag on your shoulder and go out and play. And 2 guys, 3 girls, whatever, whoever playing, you can social distance and go out and play and get out and kind of not think about it for 3 or 4 hours and go play golf and wander around and get some sunshine and some air and everything. It's really put a different light on golf and really its involvement in is this the future? Is this the first pandemic we're going to go through, or is this just a start of it? As I could go for hours and hours on overpopulation and deforestation and all sorts of things emanating out of the jungles that viruses and Antarctica, the tundra now exposing all these different things. And it's like, whoa, dude, what did you open up here? So I don't know if this is the new norm. If it is, golf's could be pretty good because, you go out and play and not bother anybody. So I don't know. My crystal ball's a little foggy at the moment, and I don't see it. But right now, it's golf is, I think, in a pretty good state. All the places I've visited, they're up. Their numbers are up substantially. Memberships, people trying to join, up substantially. So if that's a remnant of what's going on, I don't know. But if we're going to go through what we're going through and keep going, golf's in pretty good shape.
I agree with that. We're seeing that out here. Memberships are up. Golf rounds are up.
Yep.
It bodes well for golf.
Yeah.
But what else besides the difficulty of the game makes it so hard to change the culture of the game that will attract more people to it, in your opinion?
Well, our culture runs deep when you start looking at how this game evolved and the old course in St. Andrews and the hundreds of years of antiquity that it has involved itself with, and with that comes culture, and as culture is defined by golf, it is it's elitist. It's something you didn't do. I give you my interpretation. When I was at Garden Grove High School, I had no, this was Ramona High School in Riverside. I had a letterman's jacket. And on the front, I was on the basketball team, varsity basketball team. I had my letter there. And I was also on the golf team. And I had a letter, but I sewed the letter to the inside of the jacket because I didn't want anybody to know that I played golf. And that's kind of what golf is. You don't, you love it, but you don't want anybody to know you play it. And that was 1966, 65, 66. So that's kind of the mainstream. It hasn't changed much. It hasn't come out of its not cool state. And we should be in the best position in the world. We got the top athletes in the world. All they want to talk about is golf. So all they do is play golf. Where I belong at Whisperock, we get a bunch of athletes, world class. You know them all. That's all they do, play golf every day. Every day they play golf. Can't wait to talk about it. So here's a sport that's, kind of elitist and, wow, you got to be real rich to play it. And you got every athlete in the world just clamoring to play because they know that their competitive edge when they're that good never dies. And once they get out of baseball, basketball, football, hockey, whatever they play, tennis, they still have that drive. And that drive, I'd guess 80%, 70% of them go right to golf. Because it's still competitive. They can play till, I'm playing 5 times a week. I'm 100. So they all play it. And they all, from Michael Jordan to, Larry Bird, all of them, every guy, every baseball player that, and Johnny Bench, all of them, they all play golf, all of them. So it should erode the not coolness of it. It should be very cool, but I still haven't seen that shift yet, that paradigm shift from golf being, elitist and cranky and, old white guys in plaid pants. It just won't go when we haven't seen that in a long time. So I don't know. Hopefully it will. Probably not in my lifetime. I think it's kind of stamped on your forehead at this point. So we're doing the best we can. Everybody's doing a hell of a job trying to make it cool. All the guys, all my buddies play it. Everybody else, they think it's cool. So I guess that's what matters.
Who are some big names that you knock it around with, either in Scottsdale or up in Vail?
Big names from
the sporting world.
I hate to see it. I'm not going to mention any names like at Whisperock or anything, but we got most of the athletes in Arizona are there, and politicians and most of them. I have a ball playing with Barkley. He's not a member there at our place, but we play golf together, and he's a gas. He is fun. And just they're all really good guys. I've been out there 50 years, so I know most of them. I played with them along the way. They're all good guys. They're all very respectful of golf. They think it's to an athlete. They think it's really hard game, really, really hard game. They don't understand how these guys can get so good. And you look at, Tony, Romo, good buddy. And you look at John Smoltz. These guys can really play, and they'll play for money. They'll go, but they can't perform with guys who play for a living. They can't get close, and they're just amazed because they're very good, and they go out and play with their buddies. They're very good. And they go out and play in tournaments, but they can't get close, and they respect what these professional golfers do and are as far as getting mentally and physically ready and adept to play that game at that level constantly. They're absolutely amazed.
It's interesting that you mentioned Romo. The last 10 minutes here of the interview, I've got a series of would you rather questions, and the first one coming at you is: would you rather caddy on the PGA Tour for Bubba Watson, or caddy on the Ferry Tour for Tony Romo, and why?
Oh, I would go with with Bubba, excuse me. To watch a guy hit a golf ball and play the game basically with an easel and a brush as he does, to be that close to it and watch it and see what goes through his mind, it is amazing. And he can flat hit it. I mean, to curve a golf ball, the new golf ball, as much as he does, is unbelievable. I mean, it's unbelievable how far he hits it. A little skinny guy, really not little, he's 6'1", probably 170, just pounds it. I remember one time I asked him, he gets up, and every shot he opens his feet, and obviously he's left-hander. He opens his feet way to the right of the target, like he's going to hit a cut. And then he'll hit a hook from that position, or he'll cut, or hit it low, he hit it high from the same position. And I remember one time I was doing the Tavistock Cup, and I was on the ground with him, and he set up and looked like he was making practice swings to hit a hook. So his top hand, his back hand, his left hand would ride over and rotate over his right. He's going to hit a big flat hook. And he's practicing that. And he gets up over the shot and he drug it across himself and held on and hit a cut. And I got next to him and I said, let me ask you something. When did you change your idea of that shot pattern from a hook, which what you were practicing on your practice swings, to a fade when you hit it? He said, on my downswing. I said, what? He said, yeah. He says, all of a sudden I decided I didn't want to hit a hook, so I hit a cut on his downswing. Now that is an artist.
Would you rather play 36 in the same day, full day of golf with Tiger Woods, Donald Trump, and Eric Trump, or would you rather play 9 quick holes with Phil Mickelson, Anthony Kim, and Michael Phelps?
Yeah, the last one.
Would you rather play any course in the world of your choosing with a random draw of people, or play with a group of your choosing at a randomly drawn golf course?
My people, random golf course.
Would you rather have Dustin Johnson or Brooks Koepka as your partner in a team game of Trivial Pursuit?
Koepka.
Why?
If you've seen the new commercial with Dustin, where he is kind of sitting there looking off in the distance at a shot that he's got with a 3-wood, and they say there's a branch. You've seen that TaylorMade commercial?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. You've seen the look of Dustin's when he's staring off into space?
Yeah.
That's why I'm taking Koepka.
Would you rather play at Cypress Point or Augusta National?
Cypress, no contest.
Now, can you talk a little bit about your relationship with Augusta National?
Oh, I haven't had one. I got fired in '94. So there's no relationship. None. All the guys that were there when I got fired are gone from this earth. So it's cryptic in its history, but it's a place that I shouldn't have been. They want it done a certain way, and I'm a little bit, as you know, of an iconoclast, and I just didn't fit. Ferry didn't fit, but he fought it as much as he could and adhered to it. And his problem was that he wasn't going to get fired because they'd already fired me, and there's no way in the world they would take 2 guys out at CBS for being that. But David hated going there because he couldn't do David, and I could never do me, and so it was for the better that I got out of there, because they were just waiting for something to do to get me out of there. I don't blame them.
Would you rather have Tiger Woods' golf swing in 2000 or Jason Day's from 2014?
Tiger. More power. It's all about power now. There's no side note, and you can go out on the tour. I mean, you talk to these kids that are going out, and you know, you go look at the top 10 guys in the tour that are ranked, and find me, you know, somebody there that kind of doinks it around. There's not many, and you can't get to where you dominate now without hitting it, and go back and look at all the guys without hitting it really long. You can't dominate. I mean, that's exactly where Bryson's going now with his full introduction into distance and to length and how to get it from a standpoint of, you know, basic physics. The more muscle mass you have, the more ability you're going to have to move your body through time and space faster. If you're looking at ballistic movement of the body, when you're swinging a golf club, you're using about 50% of its ballistic power and muscles. So the more muscle mass you got, if you're at 50%, you just do the math. The bigger you are, farther you're going to hit it. You go. First thing is you go look at the long drive guys. Other than Jamie Sadlowski, who was 5'11" and 170 pounds, everybody out there, and Jamie quit. He was two-time world champion, and he got to 152 miles an hour swing speed. And that's, I said 20 years ago when I was doing it for ESPN, is you got to go watch these guys. Somebody from over there is going to come over here, meaning they're going to switch sides. They're going to go from long driving it to being able to long drive it and play the tour. And Bryson's just following that path now. Every guy out there with these long drive guys are now all 6 foot 5', 260, and with long arms, levers, and they figured out how to apply that. And that's exactly what Bryson's done. Exactly. He's got up to 240 now. He can fit with these guys. Ball speed's at 200. You don't play that game though unless your ball speed's about 220 to 230. Kyle's getting there at 2, so he's getting close to 228. I know Jamie, who I play golf with every day at home at Whisper Rock, he averaged about 220, 222 ball speed, and Bryson's at 200. Little over 200. So he's moving up, and there's going to be some guys going to come along. There's going to be 6'6" with, you know, 42-inch long sleeves, which Weiskopf was 42-inch long sleeves. And they're going to have plenty of muscle mass, and it's going to go boom. And there's really nothing you can do about it. There's nothing. I don't care what you do. The equipment's still going to go far.
All right, 2 final questions. The biggest regret you have in your career?
None. I don't look at regrets. You just play your cards. Play your cards the best you can do, and take what you get. You learn more from your screw ups than you do from your positive experiences, and you just deal with it. Man, how best you deal with it. In golf, you're going to deal with a lot of screw ups most of the time, 90%. So it teaches you a lot about how to handle it. And so I have no regrets on anything.
And who should we be cheering for?
Golf.
Okay. Mr. McCord, very grateful that you took the time to spend with us this morning on the Catalyst. Thank you very, very much. It's been very enlightening. I wish we had more time. Any parting thoughts for the Southern California PGA? No,
just keep doing what you're doing, guys, and keep those people interested in coming out to the golf course and improving their golf games. I mean, that's what it's all about. That's why we go practice. We hit balls. We practice putting. We practice short game. It's a myriad of platforms that you got to go through to get decent. So just try to help these people achieve their goals and do it in a fun way and make them enjoy the game. That's the best thing to do. They're doing a hell of a job at it.
Actually, one more question I got to squeeze in there. Did you compete very candidly with Andy Tooney in Riverside way back when?
You know, Andy was a desperate golfer. Mentally, he was way below par, and in golf game, as far as physically, excuse me, he had nothing to give. You know, so mentally and physically, he was dealing from the bottom of the deck. It was very sad, very, very sad.
I had to ask that one. Just I don't know if you saw the questions that came in from him that I forwarded on to you last night. But up until that point, I didn't even know that you guys knew each other. But I wanted to give you a chance to berate him and belittle him a little bit. I knew he would enjoy that. Thank you, Andy. All right, Mr. McCord, that's all the time we have today. Thank you very, very much for being with us. And for all the members on the Catalyst this morning, thanks for taking the time to support the Catalyst. Join us again next week, same bat time, same bat channel. And thanks, everybody. Stay safe, stay sane.